You know the story of the California gold rush, right? Brave prospectors striking it rich overnight. But here's the thing, that story is, well, mostly a myth. Today we're going to look at this whole thing through a completely different lens, the lens of a venture capitalist. So let's put on our investor hats because we are going to follow the money. So let's just start with the one question any good investor would ask. When you've got this much opportunity and even more risk, who actually came out on top? The answer, you'll see, is probably not who you think. And it reveals a powerful investment lesson that is just as true today as it was back in 1849. Okay, it all kicks off right here, January 24th, 1848. A guy named James Marshall spots some shiny flakes at a sawmill. Now, this wasn't just finding some pretty metal. From a business perspective, this was the Big Bang, the explosive creation of an entirely new market, literally from the ground up. And just how big was this new market? Well, in 1849 alone, that's how many people flooded into California. Now, if you're an investor, you don't see 80,000 prospectors. What you see is 80,000 new customers, creating a massive total addressable market in a place that was, just moments before, practically empty. And what kind of customers are we talking about? We're talking about the most motivated customers you could ever ask for. I mean, these weren't weekend trips. People were willing to risk everything: disease, starvation, months of absolutely grueling travel, all for just a chance at getting rich. For a venture capitalist, that is a huge, flashing green light. It proves there's an intense, almost desperate demand for the product. All right, so let's analyze the most obvious investment opportunity, the prospectors themselves. Let's think of each one of them as a startup, chasing a huge, high-reward outcome. But just how risky was this particular venture? Let's break down their business model. See, in the beginning, the cost to get in the game, what we call CapEx, or capital expenditure, was super low. All you needed was a simple pan. But as that easy surface gold vanished, the cost of doing business went through the roof. Suddenly, you needed bigger tools. Then you needed a whole team for a long tom. And eventually, you needed massive industrial-scale equipment for hydraulic mining. The barrier to entry just kept getting higher and higher, quickly pricing the little guy right out of the market. And what about the success rate? Oh, it was just abysmal. This quote from a miner's diary really says it all. The odds were fundamentally awful. For every one success story we hear about, there were literally 1,000 failures. From an investment standpoint, that's a catastrophic failure rate. There is no way you'd fund this venture. And that brings us to the crucial pivot point. If funding these high-risk startups, the miners, was just a terrible bet, where was the real sustainable opportunity for profit? Where would a truly savvy investor put their capital? This is where we get to the smart money play. It's often called mining the miners. See, the real profit wasn't in the ground. It was in selling to the thousands of people who were digging for it. The smartest investors of the era knew it's far, far better to sell the picks and shovels during a gold rush than to do the digging yourself. They invested in the supply chain. And the economics of this supply chain were just mind-blowing. I mean, look at this table. We're talking about a single egg selling for what would be $38 today. A pair of boots going for nearly $4,000. The demand was desperate, the supply was scarce, and for the merchants, the profit margins were absolutely astronomical. This wasn't a gamble, it was a guaranteed win. And who were these savvy investors? Guys like Samuel Brannan. He became California's first millionaire not by finding a single flake of gold, but by cornering the market on picks, pans, and shovels. Or Levi Strauss. He saw 80,000 miners who all needed one thing: pants that wouldn't fall apart. You see the pattern? They sold a necessary, recurring product to a completely captive market. So what was the return on this picks and shovels investment strategy? It wasn't just cash. The profits from mining the miners literally built the modern state of California. I mean, this slide says it all. Look at the return on investment. San Francisco went from a quiet little village of 200 people to a booming city of 36,000 in just 2 years. That's not just growth, that's what we'd call a hyper-growth event today. Funded entirely by the commerce that was serving the gold rush. That was the real jackpot. But you know, no business analysis is complete if you don't look at the externalities, all the costs that don't show up on a balance sheet. And this massive, completely unregulated boom had some profound and often devastating consequences.
The rush led to the violent displacement and murder of indigenous peoples. It brought in discriminatory laws like the foreign miners' tax, which was really just aimed at Chinese immigrants. And the technology, especially hydraulic mining, caused the first massive environmental catastrophe in the American West. From a modern investor's point of view, these are the huge social and environmental risks that came with that kind of unregulated boom.
So let's zoom out and just see how this all unfolded. In less than 10 years, the entire landscape changed. The rush started, it peaked, and by 1855, the entire era of the individual miner was basically over. But the enormous wealth, the wealth generated by the merchants and the suppliers, that's what fast-tracked California to become a state. And that capital, the real money from the gold rush, is what then fueled one of the biggest infrastructure projects in history, the Transcontinental Railroad. And that leaves us with one final question to think about, because this picks and shovels principle is absolutely timeless. If you look at today's big economic booms, AI, crypto, biotech, whatever it is, ask yourself the same question the smart money did back in 1849. Who is selling the tools? Because that's almost always where the real sustainable fortune is being made.